Look, a lot of people are not going to like what I'm about to say.
That's why you need to say it.
Yeah, a lot of people are not going to like it. Guys, I want to start this segment out by saying that in general, I like RFK, okay? I like some of the things he stands for. This would be an example of someone who is a liberal that I could live with. This would be an example of someone who, look, a lot of people are not going to like what I'm about to say.
That's why you need to say it.
Yeah, a lot of people are not going to like it. I mean, look, retroactively, with perspective, looking back, you know, certainly not perfect. Certainly problems, okay? Was it really that bad when Bill Clinton or Barack Obama were in? Was it really that bad? Now, you could say there are evil people that do stuff behind the scenes and conspiracies and globalists and all this. And you know, I'll lose that argument. But like, just your life at that time. Was it that bad? I mean, I remember the 90s being pretty sweet. Barack Obama, I mean, I was excited we had the first black president. I thought that was cool. I certainly didn't vote for him. But I always liked the way he spoke. And certainly, warmonger, drones. I know all the stuff. Obamacare, horrible, absolutely. Some stuff, right? But every president's going to have some stuff. They're different than Joe Biden. This has been a miserable experience as an American. And I'm sure Democrats feel the same way when Trump was president. But Trump didn't ruin the whole country like Joe Biden has with the Russian sanctions. But the fact is that when I look at RFK, I look at a guy and say, okay, I know I'm not going to agree with his policies on taxes. Now, I do agree with him on Bitcoin, crypto taxes, but regular taxes, progressive, I'm not down with it. I'm sure he's more socially progressive than I am, right? I can live with all that. I can live with that. Mm-hmm. If this was our president, I would, after Joe Biden, I'm going to appreciate every president. I promise you. No, unless it's him again. And then I'm going to appreciate him from across the pond. Okay. RFK, what he's doing here with Bitcoin, he's putting a spotlight on it. It's almost, you know, it kind of reminds me a little bit though. Almost reminds me a little bit. Wait, how did Russian sanctions ruin America? It's getting rid of the world reserve currency because like 25% of the world can't use it because we have sanctions on it. So on the dollar. So there you go. That decision is the single worst decision that's ever been made in the history of presidency, other than maybe going to the Ford Theater, one or the other. Okay. But the fact is that he's reminds me of Andrew Yang a little bit, where he's made crypto his platform, which is cool for us. We're going to love him. Crypto's going to love him. Most people are. He's not perfect, doesn't have perfect policies. But when it comes to crypto and Bitcoin, he understands it. He says he doesn't own any Bitcoin. He's got, I think, 300K worth. Oh, no, that's my wife's. That sounds a little Pelosi-ish. Just got to be honest. But the fact is that he is really being out front with, and we need this. This is good for us. This is good for us. I like him. Now, if Trump or DeSantis is pro-Bitcoin and pro-crypto and they're the candidates, and it's against RFK and he's pro-Bitcoin, I'm probably going to vote with, you know, the side where my capitalist business mind wants me to line up with, right? All things being the same. However, if Donald Trump doesn't go pro-Bitcoin, let's say he's the candidate, or let's say it's, God, Mike Pence or something like that. Oof. God. I like, you know, Nikki Haley's okay. I think she's running. I don't think she has a chance, but there's some people running that, you know, I would be okay with, but I would probably pick RFK over those people, to be honest with you. But I certainly, all things being the same, wouldn't pick him over Trump or DeSantis. But what I will say is, I won't have to worry about that. You're listening to me here now? I've been having to put a lot of people in check on RFK in the last couple weeks, okay? Guys, the Democratic convention machine is not going to let him get on stage to debate.
It's true.
They're going to destroy him. He's picked a very interesting time to come out with all this, run for president, when the Democratic Party has the presidency, with the president everybody hates. But it'd be horrible to change presidents for them, to just get rid of Joe Biden unless he falls or something, Can't forget it, can't remember his birthday, whatever. Goes out with Hunter for a night, That would be something. I don't know, maybe Joe Biden will claim the white powder in the White House. Maybe that's how he goes. They've tried to throw him under the bus a few times, and it hasn't really worked. Kamala Harris is definitely not going to be the president. They're trying to remove her from vice president and offering her a Supreme Court position if they can put in a different vice president. That's who they're trying to switch out. They're putting too much into this. They have too much control. The people that have their hooks in Joe Biden and our presidency, they have too much control to let him go. Why would they give it up to someone who they can't control? Right? So the Democratic National Convention is going to destroy RFK. I wish him the best. I would love for him to win and be the candidate. I don't think it's going to happen. So I want to say all that as we go into this story. I want you to remember, to me, this story is similar to Warren Davidson. I think it was Warren Davidson releasing a defund the SEC, fire Gary Gensler act, right? It's symbolic. It's putting out ideas for people to think about, and that's good. We want that. That bill's never going to pass. Democrats are in charge of the Senate. That bill's never going to pass. I don't know, maybe Richie Torres is pushing for them to do an investigation on Gary Gensler. Maybe if it happens and turns out bad, but the Democratic National Convention, Richie Torres runs a little, I think, off the party line sometimes too. He's a Brooklyn guy. So I don't know. I don't think they're going to have enough to ever do anything like this. So I look at this story very similarly. Bated breath. That's what you should have when you read a story like this. Think of the difference today between the last presidential election when Andrew Yang was not a serious candidate at all. Only crypto people knew him pretty much. You're right. You had the child molester guy from Mighty Ducks running as well for president. You had John McAfee running back in 2016 maybe? We had some crypto people running before. But the fact is that this is a more legitimate campaign, I believe, than either of those others. And if Joe Biden wasn't the president, I think he would have a shot to get on stage and maybe, make some waves, maybe get 10%. I don't think he could win probably, but here we go. RFK Jr. vows to back dollar with Bitcoin, exempt Bitcoin from taxes. You know how it's not going to happen? We love it. The Democratic presidential hopeful also reiterated a May stance defending the right to self-custody Bitcoin, run blockchain nodes at home, and promise industry neutral energy regulation. This is a guy who is feeding him all this? Do you think he's just like this on his own, or do you think this is an angle somebody's helped him come up with? Because he's saying all the right talking points. If he was in crypto 24/7, this is what he'd be saying, but I don't think he is. What do you think?
You make a good point. I think that here's what I would say. For him being so bullish on Bitcoin, I said this morning on Investing Bros. The question we really should be asking, if he's so pro Bitcoin, why does he only own $250,000 of Bitcoin? If he's this knowledgeable and this smart,
it's called taxes, my
wouldn't
friend.
He own more?
It's called taxes, my friend. That's why he doesn't own any. Right. Let's see. He unveiled a plan to exempt Bitcoin from capital gains tax when it converted into US dollars and to begin to back the greenback with real finite assets such as gold, silver, platinum, and Bitcoin. Exactly. This is how you save things. This is how you solve it. Backing dollars and U.S. debt obligations with hard assets could help restore strength back to the dollar, rein in inflation, usher in a new era of American financial stability, peace, and prosperity. He would start the process very, very small. Perhaps 1% of issued T-bills would be backed by hard currencies. Somewhere between 50 and 100 million. Okay. That's decent. It's a mistake for the U.S. government to hobble the industry and drive innovation elsewhere. So beautiful what he's saying here. Biden's proposed 30%. He is a great advocate for Bitcoin. Great advocate. I mean, ambassador or whatever you want to call it. Biden's proposed 30% tax on crypto mining is a bad idea. And trust him. He's a Democrat. That's what he says. He didn't actually say that, but it does say here. Joe Biden is also a Democrat. Do you think Joe Biden even knows what state he's in most of the time? I don't mean like
he doesn't
living
even know,
or dead or awake or asleep.
He doesn't even know who's in the library most times.
You remember when he was holed up during COVID and didn't even come out during the election, like a campaign and stuff? This guy. This is a dark time for our country. I just can't really emphasize how bad of a president this is. This is not a political show, but presidential politics are very important in crypto. But you know, we'll see what happens. You could also have, like, think about this. You could also have right around the time of the they start QE. We have the president changing. I think it's January of 2025 is when we actually
it was sworn in. Yeah.
Well, January 2025 is when we see the QE come back.
Okay.
I've always thought it was going to be January 2025, maybe December of 2024.
Okay.
So, therefore, if you think about it, like right as that quantitative easing would be starting, we got a new president potentially. Hopefully we have a new president. God forbid. If this president wins again, I think most people are just packing up and going home. So, but there we go. That's RFK. That's what's going on with him. And I think that, you know, this is everything he's saying. These are all the things that we should be pushing for in policy by all our candidates.
Mm-hmm.
Hold these people accountable, guys. Not just at the federal level, at the state level as well. So, yeah, RFK, would I vote for him? Sure. I would vote for him in certain circumstances, and I would not feel bad about it at all.
Yeah.
You know what I think about, though? The one thing, and maybe I shouldn't even say this, but I'm going to say it.
Yep.
Those Kennys don't have good luck running for president.
Oof.
You know, I'm just saying.